The night is quiet over the Nile. The river moves slowly through the darkness, carrying cool water between fields of black earth and long rows of reeds. Above it, the stars shine with a steady light. They have watched over these lands for thousands of years. They watched farmers walk dusty paths before sunrise. They watched fishermen push wooden boats into still water. They watched tired workers return home beneath fading evening colors. And they watched children. Many children. Some lived in small mud-brick homes near the riverbanks. Others lived in crowded villages surrounded by fields of grain. Some grew up in busy towns where workshops filled narrow streets with the sounds of tools striking stone and wood. Most of them left little trace behind. Their names are mostly forgotten now. Their voices are even harder to find. Tonight, as warm desert air drifts gently across the ancient land, we will spend time among these children. We will move slowly through their world. We will walk beside them through ordinary days. We will sit quietly in their homes. We will listen to the sounds around them. And perhaps, in the silence left behind by history, we may begin to understand why so many children grew up without ever truly being heard. Long before sunrise, a faint coolness settles over the land. It does not last very long. Soon the heat will arrive once again. The bright Egyptian sun will climb into the sky. Dust will rise from roads. Stone walls will warm beneath its light. But for now, the air remains soft. Inside a small mud-brick house, a family sleeps together in a single room. The floor beneath them is hard and packed flat. A woven mat offers some comfort. Nearby, clay jars stand against the wall. A few baskets hold grain and vegetables gathered from the previous day. Nothing in the room is wasted. Space is precious. Resources are precious. The family sleeps close together. A father rests after a long day of labor in the fields. His muscles still ache from lifting water and carrying tools beneath the sun. His wife sleeps nearby. Around them lie their children. One child is very young. Another may already be old enough to work. The line between childhood and adulthood often arrives early here. Outside, the village remains still. No carts move along the roads. No merchants call out their prices. Even the animals seem quiet. Only distant insects and the faint sound of water moving through irrigation channels break the silence. Then morning begins. Not suddenly. Slowly. A rooster calls somewhere beyond the village. A dog barks. A door opens. Sandals touch the ground. Another day has arrived. Children wake with everyone else. There is rarely a separate schedule for them. Life requires many hands. Even small hands can help. A young boy may carry water from a nearby source. A girl may help grind grain into flour. An older child may watch younger brothers and sisters while adults work. Responsibility arrives quietly. No formal announcement marks its beginning. It simply becomes part of daily life. A child wakes one morning and discovers there is more work to do than before. The adults expect help. The family needs help. And so the child joins the rhythm of the household. The sun rises. Golden light spreads across the fields. Farmers begin moving toward their work. Many children follow. The fields beside the Nile are beautiful in the early morning. The soil is dark and rich. Birds move through the reeds. The river reflects the growing light. Yet life here is rarely easy. Food depends on successful harvests. Successful harvests depend on water. Water depends on the Nile. Everything feels connected. Children learn these truths early. They do not always learn them through lessons. They learn them through observation. They watch adults worry about crops. They watch families celebrate good harvests. They watch neighbors struggle during difficult seasons. The lessons arrive through daily experience. In many homes, children are expected to listen more than they speak. This is not always because adults are cruel. Often it is because survival demands attention elsewhere. A farmer working beneath intense heat spends much of the day focused on labor. A mother preparing food, carrying water, and caring for several children may have little time left for long conversations. The days are full. The work never fully ends. And so children often become quiet observers. They watch. They listen. They learn. Their thoughts remain largely their own. As morning continues, village life grows busier. Smoke rises from cooking fires. The smell of baking bread drifts through narrow streets. Stone grinding tools scrape against grain. Animals move through dusty yards. Children pass one another while carrying baskets or jars. Some smile. Some laugh. Some invent games whenever a few spare moments appear. Even in busy societies, children find ways to play. A stick can become a toy. A smooth stone can become part of a game. An open space between homes can become a world of imagination. These moments matter. Yet they are often brief. Work soon returns. Responsibility waits nearby. For many children, personal wishes receive little attention. Adults are thinking about harvests, food supplies, taxes, repairs, illness, the countless concerns that fill ordinary lives. Children exist within this larger world. Their feelings matter. But survival often matters first. This reality appears again and again throughout ancient history. Not because people lacked affection. Many parents deeply loved their children. Evidence of love appears everywhere. Small toys, carefully made clothing, protective charms, tender words written in surviving texts. Love existed. But attention and understanding are not always the same thing. A parent may love a child while still having little opportunity to hear what that child truly thinks. As the day grows warmer, work continues. The heat begins pressing down upon the land. Dust gathers on feet and clothing. Sweat appears. The river glitters beneath the sun. Children move through this environment every day. Some assist fishermen. Near the riverbanks, wooden boats drift across calm water. Nets are lowered. Fish are gathered. The smell of water mixes with mud and reeds. A child helping here learns patience. Fishing often involves long periods of waiting. The river teaches stillness. The river teaches observation. Nearby, another child may be helping in a workshop. Ancient Egyptian workshops could be crowded places. Woodworkers shaped furniture. Potters formed clay vessels. Stoneworkers carved statues and building materials. The air often felt warm and dusty. Tools created steady rhythms throughout the day. Children learning trades spent many hours watching skilled adults. Again, listening mattered more than speaking. Observation was valuable. Questions existed. Thoughts existed. Dreams existed. Yet there was not always space to express them. History often remembers rulers. It remembers monuments. It remembers temples and tombs. But ordinary children rarely left records behind. Their private worries seldom appear in stone carvings. Their secret hopes rarely survive on papyrus. Much of their inner world vanished with time. And yet they were there. Running through dusty streets. Sleeping beneath warm nights. Helping families survive another season. Growing older one day at a time. The afternoon heat becomes heavy. The sun stands high above the land. Shadows shrink. Work slows where possible. People seek small areas of shade. Children do the same. A wall may provide relief. A tree may offer shelter. Even a brief escape from direct sunlight feels welcome. Some children eat simple meals. Bread. Vegetables. Perhaps fish. Perhaps fruit when available. The meal is practical. Designed to provide energy. Food is precious. Nothing should be wasted. After eating, work often resumes. The rhythm continues. The day stretches onward. And through all of it, children remain part of the larger machine of society. Ancient Egypt was remarkable in many ways. Its buildings astonish people even now. Its writing system preserved countless details. Its culture lasted for centuries upon centuries. Yet beneath these great achievements stood ordinary families. Millions of ordinary days. Millions of ordinary conversations. Millions of children growing up within systems created long before they were born. Most accepted the world around them because it was the only world they knew. The Nile flowed. The sun rose. Adults worked. Children helped. Life continued. As afternoon slowly drifts toward evening, the air begins to soften once more. The harshest heat starts to fade. Long shadows return to the ground. The river glows beneath golden light. Workers begin heading home. Children walk beside parents. Dust clings to their sandals. Their bodies feel tired. Their minds feel tired too. Many have been awake since before sunrise. The village grows busy again as families return. Cooking fires appear. Voices fill the air. The smell of bread and stews drifts through narrow pathways. For some children, evening offers the most peaceful part of the day. Work has slowed. The worst heat is gone. Families gather together. Stories may be shared. Meals may be eaten. For a little while, life becomes quieter. Yet even here, children often remain listeners. Adults discuss practical matters. Harvests. Neighbors. Work. Supplies. Repairs. Children absorb these conversations. They learn about the world through overheard words. Their own opinions may stay unspoken. Not because nobody cares, but because ancient life often moves according to necessity. And necessity leaves little room for long reflection. Darkness arrives gradually. Stars emerge once more above the Nile. The river continues its endless journey through the land. Families prepare for sleep. The village settles. Doors close. Voices fade. The night grows deeper. Children lie beside parents and siblings. Some drift quickly into dreams. Others stare into darkness for a while longer. Perhaps they think about tomorrow. Perhaps they think about work. Perhaps they think about things they never found words to share. History cannot tell us. The records are mostly silent. The monuments remain silent. The sands remain silent. But somewhere beneath that silence, countless childhoods once unfolded. Quiet childhoods. Busy childhoods. Tired childhoods. Lives filled with ordinary moments that mattered deeply to the people living them. And as cool night air moves softly across the riverbanks, another ancient day comes gently to rest beneath the stars. The stars remain above the Nile long after most families have fallen asleep. Their light settles softly across rooftops made from mud, brick and clay. It touches quiet fields beyond the villages. It glimmers on calm water moving steadily through the darkness. The river never truly rests. Night after night, season after season, century after century, it continues its slow journey through the heart of Egypt. Children grow up beside it. Many never travel far from its banks. The river becomes part of their earliest memories. Its smell drifts through open doorways. Its water feeds the fields that feed their families. Its presence shapes nearly every day of their lives. Before dawn arrives once again, the village exists in a rare moment of stillness. The workshops are silent. The roads are empty. The ovens have cooled. Even the animals seem reluctant to move. Inside one small home, a young girl sleeps beside her mother. The woven mat beneath them has become familiar over many years. She knows every rough place in the floor beneath it. She knows the sounds of the house settling at night. She knows the distant calls of birds that arrive just before sunrise. Soon she will wake. Soon another day will begin. But for now, there is only darkness and rest. In many ancient homes, children shared nearly every part of life with adults. There were few separate spaces. Few private rooms. Few opportunities to disappear into a world entirely their own. Most daily experiences happened together. Work happened together. Meals happened together. Sleep happened together. The closeness created strong family bonds. Yet it could also mean that children had very little space for their own voices. Their thoughts often remained inside them. The needs of the household came first. As the first pale light begins appearing along the horizon, movement slowly returns. A parent rises. A door opens. A clay jar is lifted. The sounds are small, gentle, almost hidden. Soon the village awakens around them. The girl sits up and rubs sleep from her eyes. The air still feels cool. That coolness will not last. Within a few hours the sun will transform the landscape once again. But early morning belongs to a different world. The fields seem peaceful. The river looks silver beneath the growing light. Birds call from among the reeds. The day has not yet become heavy. For many children, these early moments offer a kind of quiet comfort. Work has not fully begun. Responsibilities have not yet crowded every thought. There is simply the feeling of a new day arriving. The family begins preparing food. Grain must be ground. Dough must be mixed. Water must be carried. The tasks are familiar. No one needs instructions. Each person knows what to do. The girl helps because she always helps. Children often learn through repetition. A task performed every day slowly becomes natural. Years pass this way. Small responsibilities become larger ones. Childhood gradually blends into adulthood. Sometimes so gradually that nobody notices exactly when the change occurred. Outside, the village roads begin filling with people. Sandals press into dusty ground. Voices rise and fall. Farmers move toward the fields. Laborers head toward construction sites. Merchants prepare goods for sale. Children move among them. Some are carrying baskets. Some are carrying tools. Some are carrying younger siblings. The sight is ordinary. So ordinary that few people stop to think about it. Children are expected to contribute. Their labor may not equal that of an adult, but it still matters. Every pair of hands helps. Every task completed eases the burden of someone else. As the morning grows brighter, the girl walks with her mother toward a nearby area where water is collected. The path is familiar. Dust rises softly beneath their feet. The air smells of earth warmed by the first touch of sunlight. Other families are making the same journey. Conversations drip through the morning air. Most discussions concern practical matters. The condition of the crops. The health of a relative. The price of goods. The timing of upcoming work. Children listen quietly. The adults speak. This pattern appears again and again. The young absorb information. They learn customs. They learn expectations. They learn where they belong within society. Rarely does anyone stop to ask what kind of future they imagine for themselves. Not because such dreams are impossible, but because daily survival leaves little room for abstract questions. Ancient life often rewards reliability more than self-expression. A dependable worker is valuable. A dependable family member is valuable. A dependable child becomes a dependable adult. The system encourages obedience. It encourages patience. It encourages listening. Many children become very skilled listeners. They notice details adults overlook. They learn moods from facial expressions. They learn expectations from small changes in tone. They understand routines so well that they can predict what comes next before a word is spoken. Their observations become a quiet form of knowledge. As the sun climbs higher, activity increases throughout the countryside. In the fields, workers bend over rows of crops. The work is repetitive. Hour after hour. Day after day. Children helping here quickly learn endurance. The earth feels warm beneath their feet. The sunlight presses against their skin. Sweat gathers. Dust settles everywhere. Yet the work continues. The Nile has given life to these fields, but maintaining them requires constant effort. Water channels must be watched. Plants must be tended. Harvests must be protected. Children grow up understanding this relationship between labor and survival. Food does not simply appear. Food is earned through effort. The lesson is taught every day. Not through lectures. Through experience. Nearby, a young boy helps his father repair fishing nets. They sit together beside the river. The water moves quietly before them. Reeds sway in a gentle breeze. The father works with practiced hands. The boy watches carefully. This is how many skills are passed from one generation to the next. Observation comes first. Participation follows. Mastery arrives much later. The father does not speak continuously. He does not explain every detail. Instead, the boy learns through watching. Through repetition. Through patience. In many ancient households, communication often worked this way. Knowledge was demonstrated more often than discussed. Instructions were brief. Examples were constant. Children learned by doing. Their questions sometimes remained unasked. Their uncertainties sometimes remained hidden. Yet life moved forward regardless. The river sparkles beneath midday sunlight. Boats drift along its surface. Some carry fish. Others carry goods. Others transport people between communities. Children standing along the riverbanks watch them pass. Perhaps they wonder where those boats are going. Perhaps they imagine distant places beyond the horizon. Many will never travel far from home. The world can feel both vast and very small at the same time. Stories occasionally bring news from elsewhere. Merchants speak of distant towns. Travelers describe unfamiliar landscapes. Scribes record events taking place far away. But for most children, daily life remains centered around family, village, and work. The boundaries of their world are practical boundaries. Their dreams must fit inside them. As afternoon arrives, the heat grows stronger. The air becomes heavy. Movement slows. Even conversations seem quieter. Workers seek whatever shade they can find. Children do the same. A wall casts a narrow shadow. A tree offers temporary relief. The cool interior of a home becomes especially welcome. Inside, the girl helps prepare food for the evening meal. The room smells of grain and clay. Light enters through a small opening. Dust dances softly within the beam of sunlight. The work is steady and familiar. Her hands move almost automatically. She has performed these tasks many times before. As she works, adults nearby discuss household concerns. Again she listens. Again she absorbs information. Again her own thoughts remain largely unspoken. This experience is shared by countless children throughout history. Their inner worlds are rich. Their emotions are real. Their hopes are meaningful. Yet the structure of daily life provides few opportunities to explore them openly. Many learn to carry their thoughts quietly. Many become comfortable with silence. Not all silence is sadness. Sometimes silence is simply the shape that life takes. Outside, the village continues moving through another ordinary day. Animals wander through dusty yards. Potters shape clay vessels. Builders lift stone and wood. Merchants arrange goods beneath simple shelters. The entire community functions through countless small acts of labor. Children are woven into the system from an early age. Their contribution may seem modest. Yet every contribution matters. Every completed task helps sustain the larger whole. As the afternoon slowly fades, golden light begins returning to the landscape. The worst heat finally loosens its grip. A breeze moves across the river. Workers straighten tired backs. Families begin making their way home. The village fills with familiar sounds. Footsteps. Voices. Laughter. The occasional cry of a child. The smell of cooking spreads through the air. Evening often feels softer than any other part of the day. The pressure of work eases. Darkness remains some distance away. For a brief time, the world seems balanced. Children enjoy these moments. Some play games with friends. Some sit beside family members. Some simply rest. Their bodies are tired. Their minds are tired. Yet there is comfort in returning home. There is comfort in routine. The same meal. The same faces. The same walls. The same stars waiting overhead. Night arrives gently. The sky deepens from gold to blue, then from blue to black. One by one, the stars emerge. The Nile reflects their light. The village quiets. Families gather indoors. Conversations become softer. The day begins releasing its hold. The young girl lies down beside her family once more. Around her, familiar sounds fade into silence. The room grows dark. Outside, the river continues flowing through the night. She closes her eyes. Tomorrow will likely resemble today. The same tasks. The same routines. The same expectations. Such repetition defines much of ancient life. Yet within that repetition, childhood continues unfolding. Quietly. Patiently. Almost unnoticed. And while history remembers great rulers and towering monuments, countless children drift into sleep beneath these same stars, carrying thoughts that were rarely recorded, rarely preserved, and often never fully spoken aloud. Above them, the night watches in silence. And the Nile keeps flowing through the darkness. The Nile moves quietly through the darkness. Its waters slip past sleeping villages, past fields resting beneath the stars, past small docks where fishing boats wait for another day. The river has carried life through this land for longer than anyone can remember. It has seen generations arrive and generations fade away. Tonight, as another ancient night settles gently over Egypt, the homes along its banks grow still. Inside one of those homes, a young boy sleeps near the doorway. The air is warm. The walls hold traces of the day's heat. A faint breeze enters through a small opening and drifts across the room. Around him, his family rests. His father breathes slowly after a long day in the fields. His mother sleeps beside younger children. The room is simple. Clay jars stand near the wall. A basket of grain waits for morning. A small oil lamp has long since burned out. Darkness fills every corner. For now, there is peace. Yet before long, morning will return. It always does. And with it will come another day shaped by work, duty, and routine. The boy has known this rhythm for as long as he can remember. When he was very young, the adults carried him. Then they guided him. Now they expect him to help. The change happened little by little. There was no special moment when someone announced that childhood was ending. Life simply moved forward. One task became two. One responsibility became several. The seasons passed. The river rose and fell. And he grew older. Across much of ancient Egypt, children learned that belonging to a family also meant contributing to it. Every household depended upon cooperation. Food had to be prepared. Water had to be collected. Animals had to be watched. Fields had to be maintained. Work surrounded daily life like the river surrounded the land. Children entered that current early. Many accepted it without question because it seemed natural. Everyone around them lived the same way. Their parents had done the same. Their grandparents before them. The pattern stretched back beyond memory. Outside, the first signs of dawn begin appearing. A pale glow touches the eastern horizon. The stars slowly lose their brightness. Birds stir among the reeds. The village wakes one sound at a time. A door opens. A rooster calls. Footsteps move across packed earth. Soon the boy is awake. He sits quietly for a moment. The room still feels half asleep. The coolness of night lingers. He enjoys these moments before work begins. Many children do. The earliest part of the morning often feels different from the rest of the day. The world seems gentler. The heat has not arrived. The roads remain calm. The river reflects soft colors across its surface. For a little while, everything feels slower. His father is already preparing to leave. Today there is work waiting in the fields. There is always work waiting in the fields. The growing season demands attention. The irrigation channels must be checked. The crops must be watched carefully. The Nile provides life, but life requires effort. The boy follows his father outside. The village is stirring. Thin trails of smoke rise into the brightening sky. Women prepare food. Children carry jars. Dogs wander through narrow paths. Voices drip through the cool morning air. The smell of baking bread begins to spread. It is one of the most familiar smells in the ancient world. Warm. Comforting. Steady. For thousands of years, people have greeted mornings with that same scent. The boy breathes it in as he walks. His stomach reminds him that the day has only just begun. Soon the village will become busy. Soon the roads will fill. Soon the sun will begin its long climb. But for now, the morning still belongs to quietness. They reach the fields. The soil is dark and fertile. Water glimmers inside narrow channels. The river's gift stretches outward across the land. Without it, little would grow here. Children learn this truth early. They hear adults speak about the river with respect. They see what happens when crops flourish. They see the worry that arrives when conditions change. The Nile becomes more than water. It becomes security, hope, survival. The boy begins helping with simple tasks. Nothing unusual. Nothing dramatic. The kind of work repeated countless times across generations. His hands move through familiar motions. His father works nearby. They do not speak much. Many relationships in the ancient world are built through shared labor rather than conversation. A father teaches by example. A child learns by observation. Hours pass this way. The sun rises higher. The cool air disappears. Heat settles across the fields. Sweat forms. Dust sticks to skin. The work continues. Nearby, other children help their families. Some carry bundles. Some watch animals. Some pull weeds. Some move water. The scene repeats itself throughout the countryside. Thousands of children participating in the daily effort that keeps society functioning. Many of them rarely have opportunities to discuss their fears, or their dreams, or the questions that quietly live inside their minds. There are practical reasons for this. Ancient life leaves little spare time. A parent may care deeply about a child while still being exhausted from sunrise to sunset. Physical labor consumes energy. Long days consume attention. By evening, many adults simply want rest. The result is not always neglect. Often it is fatigue. The kind of fatigue that settles into muscles and bones after years of demanding work. Children notice this. They learn when not to interrupt. They learn when adults are worried. They learn when silence feels easier than speaking. Over time, some become remarkably skilled at carrying their own thoughts. As the morning advances, activity spreads throughout nearby villages. Merchants arrange goods for trade. Builders gather tools. Fishermen return from early journeys along the river. The ancient economy moves through countless small actions. Most people are not wealthy. Most people live close to necessity. A poor harvest can create hardship. An illness can disrupt an entire household. A damaged tool can become a serious problem. Children grow up surrounded by these realities. They hear discussions about grain supplies. They hear concerns about taxes. They hear worries about sickness. The conversations become part of the background of everyday life. Even when adults are not speaking directly to them, children absorb everything. In many ways, they become quiet witnesses to the world around them. The sun reaches its highest point. Heat blankets the land. The air seems almost still. Workers seek moments of relief whenever possible. Shade becomes precious. A tree. A wall. A shelter made from woven materials. Anything that blocks the sunlight feels valuable. The boy sits beneath a small patch of shade beside his father. Neither speaks for a while. The silence is comfortable. Across the fields, other workers rest as well. The landscape feels suspended between movement and stillness. Far away, the Nile shines beneath the afternoon sun. Its surface sparkles like polished metal. The sight is familiar. Yet it never fully loses its beauty. Children often spend much of their lives near the river. They know its sounds, its smells, its moods. They know how morning light touches the water. They know how evening colors settle across it. They know the feeling of cool air drifting from its banks after a hot day. The river becomes part of childhood itself. Back in the village, a young girl helps her mother prepare food. The room is warm. Flour dust drifts through sunlight entering from above. Clay bowls sit nearby. The smell of grain fills the air. The work requires patience. The motions are repetitive. Mixing, grinding, kneading, waiting. Children learn patience through these tasks. Not because someone teaches a lesson. Because the work itself demands it. The girl listens as older relatives talk nearby. Stories emerge. Family memories. Village news. Small concerns. Practical advice. Children often sit at the edge of such conversations. Present but not central. Listening but not leading. They learn about the world from these moments. Yet their own stories may receive less attention. Their private worries may remain hidden. Their ideas may stay unspoken. Not because they lack value, but because adult concerns often dominate household life. Outside, the afternoon slowly begins its long journey toward evening. The sunlight softens. Shadows lengthen. The harsh brightness of midday gradually fades. People begin returning home. The roads fill once again. Footsteps stir dust into the air. Voices carry across the village. Children walk beside parents. Some are tired. Some are hungry. Some are simply glad that the day's work is ending. Evening brings relief. It brings food. It brings family. It brings rest. The boy and his father make their way back through familiar paths. The village looks beautiful in the golden light. Mud brick walls glow softly. Palm trees sway in the breeze. Smoke rises from cooking fires. The entire community seems wrapped in warm colors. Moments like these become memories. Even if nobody records them. Even if history forgets them. For the people living them, they matter. The evening meal is simple. Bread. Vegetables. Perhaps fish. Perhaps dates. The food is shared among family members gathered close together. Conversation flows gently. Mostly practical matters. Tomorrow's tasks. The condition of the crops. The needs of the household. Children listen. Sometimes they speak. But often they remain observers. Their place within the family is clear. They are loved. Needed. Protected when possible. Yet still expected to follow rather than lead. As darkness returns, the village gradually grows quiet. One house after another settles into stillness. The roads empty. The workshops close. The animals rest. Above it all, the stars appear once more. The same stars that watched over countless generations before. The boy lies down beside his family. His muscles ache from work. His eyelids feel heavy. The room is warm but comfortable. Outside, the river continues flowing through the night. Its gentle movement blends with distant sounds from the reeds. The world feels calm. Safe. Unhurried. He closes his eyes. Tomorrow will arrive soon enough. Another morning. Another walk through dusty roads. Another day beside the Nile. Another day of listening. Another day of growing older. And all across ancient Egypt, countless other children drift into sleep beneath the same sky, carrying thoughts that few people ever heard, while the river moves quietly through the darkness, as it always has, and as it always will. The night deepens over the Nile. The river moves through darkness as calmly as it did the day before, and the day before that, and through countless nights stretching back into distant centuries. Along its banks, villages rest beneath a blanket of stars. The air has cooled. The dust of the day has settled. The sounds of labor have faded into silence. Only a few gentle noises remain. The rustle of reeds. The distant call of a bird. The soft movement of water against the shore. Inside a small mud brick home, a family sleeps. Their day has been long. Their bodies are tired. The work of living in ancient Egypt rarely leaves much energy unused. Tomorrow will bring more labor, more responsibilities, more routines that have been repeated so many times that they feel as old as the river itself. For now, however, there is rest. A young girl turns slightly in her sleep. Her hands still carry traces of the day's work. She helped prepare food. She carried water. She watched younger children. She completed tasks that seem ordinary, yet together they helped support an entire household. Many children throughout ancient Egypt lived similar lives. Their days were rarely empty. Their schedules were rarely their own. The needs of the family shaped nearly everything. And so, little by little, childhood became intertwined with responsibility. Above the village, the stars continue their slow journey across the sky. No one watches them now. Most eyes are closed. Most minds have already drifted into dreams. The hours before dawn pass quietly. Then, almost without notice, the darkness begins to change. The horizon grows pale. The stars lose their brightness. Morning approaches once again. The cycle continues. The village wakes. The same familiar sounds return. Doors open. Voices rise softly. Animals stir. Cooking fires are prepared. Children awaken beside parents and siblings. There is comfort in repetition. The ancient world is full of uncertainty, but daily routines provide something dependable. People know what the morning will bring. They know where they must go. They know what work awaits them. That knowledge creates a kind of stability. The girl rises and steps outside. The air feels cool against her skin. She pauses for a moment. Many children experience small moments like this. Brief pauses between sleep and labor. Tiny pockets of stillness before the day begins gathering speed. The village around her is beautiful in the early light. Mud brick walls glow softly. Palm trees stand quietly against the brightening sky. Birds move through the reeds near the river. The world feels peaceful. Soon the heat will arrive. Soon the roads will fill with activity. But not yet. For now, there is only morning. Her mother calls her. There is work to do. The household must prepare for the day. Grain must be ground. Water must be collected. Food must be made ready. The tasks are familiar. No one explains them. No one needs to. The girl has watched adults perform these duties for years. Now she performs many of them herself. This is how much knowledge is passed down. Not through long discussions. Not through formal instruction. But through observation. Through repetition. Through daily participation. Children learn by being present. By watching carefully. By listening. Listening becomes one of the most important skills in their lives. They listen to instructions. They listen to stories. They listen to warnings. They listen to conversations not intended for them. Over time, they gather an enormous amount of knowledge. Yet many receive few opportunities to share their own thoughts in return. The adults are busy. The work is demanding. The day moves quickly. There is always something that needs attention. As the sun rises higher, the village comes fully alive. Workers move through narrow roads. Merchants arrange goods. Builders carry materials. Fishermen prepare boats. Children move among them. Some are helping parents. Some are running errands. Some are carrying supplies from one place to another. The entire community functions through cooperation. Every person contributes. Even the youngest members often have responsibilities. The girl walks with other children toward the river. Clay jars rest against their hips. The path is worn smooth from years of use. Thousands of footsteps have traveled this route. Generations of families have followed the same road. The Nile appears ahead. Wide. Steady. Endlessly familiar. The water reflects the morning sky. A gentle breeze drifts across its surface. For a few moments, the children stand quietly. The river invites stillness. Even busy minds seem to slow beside it. Then the work begins. Water is collected. Jars are lifted. The return journey starts. The task is simple. Yet it requires effort. The jars are heavy. The road feels longer on the way back. The sun grows warmer with every passing hour. Ancient childhood is often physical. Muscles develop through daily labor. Strength comes from necessity rather than exercise. Children learn endurance because life requires it. By midday, the heat settles across the landscape. The sunlight reflects from walls and roads. The air feels thick. Workers wipe sweat from their faces. Animals seek shade. Even the birds seem quieter. Inside homes, people continue their tasks. The girl helps prepare food. Nearby, a younger child plays with a small object carved from wood. The toy is simple. Perhaps handmade by a parent. Perhaps passed down from an older sibling. Children have always found ways to play. Even in busy households. Even in difficult circumstances. Moments of imagination survive. A carved figure becomes a character. A smooth stone becomes treasure. A stick becomes almost anything. These small worlds provide space that daily labor cannot. They offer a brief escape. A chance to explore thoughts and stories that belong entirely to the child. Yet such moments are often short. Responsibility waits nearby. The rhythm of ancient life leaves little room for long periods of leisure. Across the village, a young boy spends the afternoon in a workshop. The room smells of wood dust and warm stone. Sunlight enters through narrow openings. Skilled hands shape materials into useful objects. The boy watches closely. He studies every movement. Every tool. Every technique. One day he may perform the same work himself. Apprenticeship begins early. The path toward adulthood often begins through observation. Again, listening is valued. Patience is valued. Obedience is valued. A child who pays attention learns. A child who learns becomes useful. And usefulness is highly respected. The boy rarely speaks unless necessary. No one considers this unusual. Many adults grew up the same way. They too spent years listening more than talking. They too learned through watching. It is simply how knowledge moves through society. As the afternoon slowly fades, long shadows stretch across the village. The worst heat begins to disappear. Relief spreads through the community. Workers straighten their backs. Families prepare to return home. The river catches the golden light of evening. The entire landscape seems softer now. Children often enjoy this part of the day most. Work is nearly finished. The air feels cooler. The village becomes lively in a different way. Neighbors greet one another. Families gather. Cooking fires appear. The smell of bread fills the air. The girl sits beside her grandmother. The older woman is repairing a woven basket. Her hands move slowly but confidently. She has performed this task many times. Years of experience live within those hands. As she works, she tells a story. Not a grand story about kings. Not a tale of conquest. Simply a memory. A family memory. A village memory. The sort of story that rarely survives in written records. The girl listens carefully. This is another way history travels. Through voices. Through conversations. Through evenings spent together. Many children learn about the past this way. Not from scrolls. Not from monuments. But from relatives sitting nearby. The grandmother speaks. The child listens. The knowledge passes forward. Yet even during these moments, the flow of conversation usually moves in one direction. Children receive wisdom. Adults provide it. The thoughts of the young often remain hidden beneath the surface. Perhaps the girl has questions. Perhaps she has ideas of her own. Perhaps she imagines a future that nobody else can see. History rarely records such things. Most children leave behind no written testimony. Their private feelings disappear into time. We see their footprints. We see evidence of their labor. We see traces of their lives. But their inner voices often fade away. Evening deepens. The sky darkens gradually. One star appears. Then another. Then hundreds. The village settles. Doors close. Voices become softer. Lamps glow briefly before darkness returns. Families prepare for sleep. The girl lies down beside her family. The room feels familiar. Safe. Quiet. Outside, the Nile continues flowing beneath the stars. The river does not hurry. It does not stop. It simply moves onward through the night. The girl listens to distant sounds beyond the walls. Water. Wind. Reeds shifting gently in the darkness. Her eyes grow heavy. Tomorrow will bring another day. Another sunrise. Another walk beside the river. Another collection of ordinary moments that will never be carved into stone or written upon papyrus. Yet these moments matter. They are the substance of everyday life. They are the unseen threads that hold entire societies together. And as sleep slowly settles over the village once more, countless children across ancient Egypt close their eyes beneath the same sky, carrying silent thoughts into dreams while the Nile glides quietly through the endless night. The Nile flows beneath a sky full of stars. Its waters move through the darkness with the same patient rhythm they have followed for thousands of years. Along the riverbanks, villages sleep. The heat of the day has faded. Cool air drifts slowly across fields and through narrow streets lined with mud-brick homes. Most people are asleep now. The workers who spent the day in the fields. The fishermen who guided their boats across the water. The merchants who carried goods beneath the sun. The mothers who prepared food. The fathers who repaired tools. The children who helped wherever they could. For a few quiet hours, the burdens of the day are set aside. The night asks nothing of them. It simply surrounds them with stillness. Inside one home near the edge of a village, a young boy sleeps beside two younger brothers. The room is crowded but familiar. Every object has its place. Clay jars stand against the wall. Woven baskets rest nearby. A small wooden stool waits in the corner. The family owns little that is unnecessary. Most possessions serve a purpose. Life leaves little room for excess. The boy shifts slightly in his sleep. Tomorrow will arrive soon enough. When it does, he will once again step into the routine that shapes nearly every part of his life. A routine shared by countless children throughout ancient Egypt. A routine that begins before sunrise. The stars slowly fade. Darkness softens. The first light of morning appears. As always, the village wakes gradually. A door opens somewhere nearby. A goat makes a low sound. A woman begins preparing the morning meal. The smell of grain soon drifts into the air. One by one, families rise. The boy opens his eyes. For a few moments he remains still. The room is quiet. His brothers continue sleeping. Outside, the world is beginning another day. He listens. The distant sounds of the village arrive through the doorway. Footsteps. Voices. Birdsong. The steady pulse of ordinary life. Children in the ancient world often become excellent listeners. They spend much of their early years observing. Watching adults. Watching older siblings. Watching neighbors. Listening carefully allows them to understand expectations before anyone speaks them aloud. A child quickly learns what must be done. What should be avoided? What responsibilities belong to them? Many lessons arrive without formal instruction. The world itself becomes the teacher. The boy rises and follows his father outside. The morning air feels pleasant. Cool enough to enjoy. The river glimmers beyond the fields. Mist hangs lightly above parts of the water. Birds move through the reeds. The sight is beautiful. Yet few people stop to admire it for long. There is work waiting. Work is never far away. As they walk toward the fields, other families join the road. Men carry tools. Women carry baskets. Children walk beside them. Some are still rubbing sleep from their eyes. Others are already awake and alert. The village moves together like a slow current flowing toward the day. The fields stretch outward before them. Green growth stands against dark soil. The irrigation channels shimmer beneath the early sunlight. Everything here depends upon careful attention. Water must reach the crops. The crops must survive the heat. The harvest must be successful. Too many things depend upon it. The boy begins helping immediately. His tasks are simple compared to those of adults. Yet they matter. Every small contribution matters. Ancient households rarely divide life into separate worlds of childhood and adulthood. Children are expected to participate. Their efforts are part of the family's survival. As the sun rises higher, warmth spreads across the land. The coolness of morning slowly disappears. Workers settle into familiar rhythms. Hands move. Tools scrape. Water flows through channels. Birds circle overhead. Hours pass. The work continues. For children, these long days create a certain kind of understanding. They learn patience. Not because someone teaches a lesson about patience. Because waiting is unavoidable. Seeds take time to grow. Bread takes time to bake. Boats take time to build. Nets take time to repair. The natural world moves at its own pace. Ancient life requires people to move with it. A child who grows up here learns that many things cannot be rushed. Nearby, another boy is spending the morning with his uncle, a fisherman. They sit beside the river repairing a damaged net. The Nile stretches before them. Calm. Wide. Familiar. The uncle works steadily. The boy copies each movement. Neither speaks much. The silence is ordinary. In many modern stories, important lessons arrive through speeches. Ancient life is often quieter. Knowledge passes through demonstration. Through repetition. Through example. The boy watches. Learns. Tries. Makes mistakes. Tries again. This process may continue for years. Little by little, skill grows. The river has witnessed this pattern across countless generations. Fathers teaching sons. Mothers teaching daughters. Grandparents teaching grandchildren. The cycle repeats endlessly. Children absorb knowledge not only from family members but from the entire community. Every workshop. Every marketplace. Every field. Every riverbank. The village itself becomes a classroom. Yet while children are constantly learning, they are not always asked what they think. Adults focus on practical concerns. Survival leaves limited room for reflection. Food supplies matter. Harvests matter. Health matters. Repairs matter. These concerns fill conversations. Children listen from the edges. Sometimes they speak. Often they do not. The result is a childhood where observation becomes more common than expression. As midday approaches, the heat grows stronger. The sunlight feels heavy. Dust rises from roads and settles upon clothing. Workers seek shade whenever possible. Even a small patch of shadow feels valuable. The boy sits beneath a tree with his father. They eat a simple meal. Bread. Perhaps onions. Perhaps dried fish. Nothing elaborate. Yet after hours of labor, the food feels satisfying. Nearby, other families rest as well. Conversations drip through the warm air. Most discussions revolve around familiar subjects. Crops. Water levels. Family matters. Village news. Children hear everything. They store away details. They learn who is respected. Who is struggling. Who recently married. Who recently became ill. Information moves through communities in this way. Quietly. Constantly. During the hottest hours, movement slows. The entire landscape seems to breathe more slowly. The river sparkles beneath the bright sky. Palm trees stand motionless. Even animals appear reluctant to move. In one small home, a young girl helps care for her baby brother. She rocks him gently while her mother works nearby. The child is restless. The afternoon is warm. The room feels close. Yet she remains patient. This responsibility is familiar. Many older siblings spend countless hours caring for younger children. Their own childhood unfolds alongside caregiving. They learn responsibility early. They learn sacrifice early. They learn that family needs often come before personal desires. Such lessons shape entire lives. The girl occasionally glances outside. She can hear other children playing. Their laughter drifts through the doorway. For a moment she watches. Then she returns her attention to her brother. These small moments happen every day. Small choices. Small duties. Small sacrifices. History rarely records them. Yet they form much of ordinary life. As afternoon slowly gives way to evening, shadows lengthen across the village. Relief arrives with the cooling air. Workers begin returning home. Dusty roads fill with familiar faces. The day's labor is ending. The village feels different now. Softer. More relaxed. Cooking fires appear one by one. Smoke drifts upward. The smell of bread fills the air once again. Children gather near homes. Some help prepare meals. Some carry water. Some finally find a little time for games. Their laughter echoes between walls warmed by the day's sun. For a short while, responsibilities loosen their grip. The village belongs to evening. The boy sits outside his home watching the sky change color. Orange becomes gold. Gold becomes deep blue. The first stars appear. He does not know that thousands of years later people will wonder about lives like his. He does not know that most traces of his existence will disappear. He only knows this moment. The cooling air. The smell of food. The familiar voices of family members nearby. The comfort of being home. Many children throughout history experience life in this way. Not as part of grand events. Not as figures in important records. But as participants in ordinary days. Days filled with work. Days filled with family. Days filled with countless thoughts that nobody writes down. The evening meal brings everyone together. Family members sit close. Food is shared. Stories are exchanged. The light from a small lamp flickers softly. Faces glow in the warm light. Children listen. Adults speak. The pattern continues. Yet there is affection here. Familiarity. Belonging. Even when children are not always heard, they remain woven deeply into the lives of those around them. As darkness settles fully across the village, the sounds of evening begin to fade. One household after another grows quiet. Doors close. Lamps are extinguished. The stars shine brighter overhead. The Nile continues its endless journey through the night. The boy lies down beside his family. His body feels heavy from work. His eyes slowly close. Outside, reeds whisper beside the river. A gentle breeze moves through the darkness. Another day has passed. Another ordinary day. The kind of day history often overlooks. Yet it is within these ordinary days that childhood truly lives. And across the ancient land, countless children drift into sleep carrying unspoken thoughts, while beyond the walls of their homes, the Nile glides beneath the stars, patient and silent, through another peaceful night. The Nile moves through the darkness as though it has all the time in the world. Its waters slip past sleeping villages and quiet fields, reflecting thousands of stars scattered across the night sky. The air is cooler now than it was during the day. A gentle breeze brushes through reeds along the riverbanks. Palm leaves sway softly above the water. Most of Egypt is asleep. The ovens have cooled. The workshops stand empty. The roads lie still beneath the moonlight. Only the river continues its endless journey. Inside a modest mud-brick home near the edge of a farming village, a young girl sleeps curled beside her younger sister. The room is dark. The day's work has left everyone tired. Her mother rests nearby. Her father sleeps after spending long hours tending fields beneath the relentless sun. The family shares the same space, as many families do. Their lives are closely connected. Their routines overlap. Their days begin and end together. For children growing up in ancient Egypt, privacy is rare. Most experiences happen in the presence of others. Most thoughts remain internal. Many feelings pass unnoticed, not because they are unimportant, but because life moves quickly from one responsibility to the next. The stars slowly begin to fade. A pale line appears on the horizon. Morning is returning. The village wakes gradually. The first sounds are quiet. A door creaks open. Someone coughs. A clay jar is lifted. Birds begin calling from nearby reeds. The familiar rhythm of another day begins. The girl opens her eyes. For a few moments she simply listens. The room is peaceful. The world beyond the walls has not fully awakened. These small moments between sleep and labor often feel different from the rest of the day. The mind drifts gently. Thoughts move slowly. Dreams linger. Then the responsibilities return. Her mother rises first. Soon everyone else follows. The family prepares for another day shaped by work, routine, and the steady demands of ordinary life. Outside, dawn spreads across the countryside. The Nile reflects shades of silver and gold. Mist hangs low above the water. The fields appear calm and beautiful in the early light. Many children see scenes like this every morning. Some notice them deeply. Some barely notice them at all. Beauty often becomes ordinary when it surrounds you every day. The girl steps outside carrying a small basket. The earth feels cool beneath her feet. A few neighbors are already awake. Some greet one another softly. Others remain focused on their tasks. Morning in the village is not loud. It unfolds gradually. Like the opening of a flower. Like sunlight slowly crossing a wall. Nothing rushes. Nothing demands attention all at once. Ancient life often follows natural rhythms. The sun rises. People work. The sun sets. People rest. The cycle repeats. Children grow up inside this rhythm. It becomes part of them. As the morning continues, the village fills with activity. Workers head toward fields. Merchants prepare goods. Craftsmen open workshops. Children move among them carrying baskets, tools, and jars. The girl's task today is familiar. She will help prepare grain. It is work she has done many times before. The grinding stones are heavy. The motion is repetitive. Hours can pass performing the same task. Many ancient jobs require patience rather than speed. Patience becomes a quiet skill. A necessary skill. The girl kneels beside the stone. Her hands begin moving through practiced motions. Nearby, adults discuss household matters. Food supplies. Relatives. Upcoming work. The conversation flows around her. She listens without being part of it. This experience is common. Children often exist near conversations rather than inside them. They hear everything. They understand more than adults sometimes realize. Yet their own thoughts remain mostly private. Not because they have nothing to say, but because daily life rarely pauses long enough to ask. As sunlight grows stronger, warmth spreads across the village. Dust rises from roads. Voices echo between homes. The smell of baking bread drifts through the air. Somewhere nearby, a baby cries. A dog barks. A merchant calls out to passing customers. The sounds blend together into the music of ordinary life. History often preserves the voices of rulers, the words of officials, the records of scribes. But the sounds of everyday villages are harder to preserve. The laughter of children, the scraping of sandals across stone, the crackling of cooking fires, the quiet conversations shared at dusk. These sounds vanish quickly. Yet they filled the lives of millions. As the morning stretches onward, a young boy works alongside his uncle in a carpenter's workshop. The room smells of wood shavings and dust. Sunlight enters through narrow openings. Tiny particles drip through the beams of light. The uncle shapes a piece of wood using simple tools. The boy watches carefully. Every movement matters. Every detail teaches something. He has spent years learning this way. Watching. Listening. Practicing. Making mistakes. Trying again. No long speeches are required. The work itself provides instruction. Many children learn trades through silence. A glance. A gesture. A demonstration. Knowledge passes from one pair of hands to another. The boy sometimes wonders about things beyond the workshop. About distant cities. About travelers who arrive with unusual stories. About places far beyond the horizon. But there is rarely much time to discuss such thoughts. The day remains busy. The work remains necessary. Dreams often remain unspoken. Across ancient Egypt, countless children carry private curiosities. Private fears. Private hopes. History rarely hears them. By midday, the heat becomes intense. The sun hangs high above the land. Shadows shrink. The air feels heavy. Workers seek relief wherever they can find it. The girl pauses beneath a patch of shade. Nearby, other children do the same. Their faces show signs of fatigue. Their clothing carries dust from the day's work. No one complains much. The conditions are familiar. Every summer brings heat. Every year follows similar patterns. People adapt because they must. A breeze arrives from the direction of the river. For a moment, it feels wonderfully cool. Everyone notices. Small comforts become meaningful in demanding environments. A cool breeze. A drink of water. A place to sit. A few moments of rest. Children appreciate these things deeply. The ancient world teaches gratitude for simple relief. As afternoon unfolds, the village settles into a slower pace. The hottest hours encourage patience. People conserve energy. Tasks continue, but movement becomes measured. The river sparkles beneath the sunlight. Boats drift across its surface. Some carry fish. Some carry grain. Some transport travelers between communities. Children watch them pass. Many wonder where they are going. The world beyond their village often feels mysterious. Most children never travel great distances. Their understanding of distant places comes through stories. Stories told by merchants. Stories carried by travelers. Stories shared by relatives. The imagination fills in the rest. The girl listens carefully whenever visitors speak. New stories are rare. New ideas are rare. Each one feels valuable. Yet even then, she remains mostly silent. Listening has become second nature. Her role is to absorb information rather than guide conversation. The pattern is so common that few people question it. As evening approaches, the sunlight softens. Golden colors spread across the landscape. The oppressive heat finally begins to fade. Workers start making their way home. The roads become lively once again. Children walk beside parents. Families gather. The smell of food returns to the air. The village seems to breathe more easily. Evening is often the gentlest part of the day. The pressure of labor loosens. People reconnect with one another. Meals are prepared. Stories are exchanged. For a little while, life feels slower. The girl sits outside her home watching the changing sky. A flock of birds passes overhead. The river glows in the distance. She hears laughter from nearby families. A grandmother tells a story to several children gathered around her. The story is old. Perhaps older than the village itself. Generations have listened to it. Generations have repeated it. This is another way knowledge survives. Not through monuments. Not through official records. But through voices shared in the evening light. The girl listens. Like so many children before her. Like so many children after her. Listening becomes a bridge between generations. Yet even as she listens, her own story continues quietly inside her. Her own thoughts. Her own questions. Her own dreams. Most will never be written down. Most will never be recorded. They will exist only within her. Then fade with time. Night slowly returns. The sky darkens. Stars appear one by one. Families move indoors. The village grows quiet. The day's sounds gradually disappear. Doors close. Lamps flicker. Then darkness settles over everything once more. The girl lies beside her family. The room feels familiar and safe. Outside, the Nile flows through the night. The same river that carried boats during the day. The same river that nourished the fields. The same river that watched over countless generations of children growing up along its banks. Her eyes grow heavy. The sounds of the village fade. Sleep arrives gently. And beneath the ancient stars, another ordinary day slips into memory, while the river continues onward through the darkness, carrying with it the quiet stories of children whose voices were seldom heard, yet whose lives filled the land with countless small acts of patience, effort, and hope. The Nile continues its slow journey beneath the stars. Night rests gently upon the land. The river glides between dark banks lined with reeds that whisper whenever a breeze passes through them. Palm trees stand as quiet silhouettes against the sky. Far above, countless stars shine over the sleeping villages of ancient Egypt. The world feels peaceful. The fields are silent. The workshops are empty. The ovens have gone cold. Even the dogs that wandered dusty roads during the day have found places to rest. For a few precious hours, the endless work of life pauses. Inside a small home not far from the river, a young boy sleeps beside his grandfather. The old man breathes slowly. Years of labor have shaped his body. His hands carry the marks of countless seasons spent working beneath the Egyptian sun. The boy often studies those hands. They seem to hold stories. Stories that were never written. Stories that survive only in memory. Children throughout history have grown up surrounded by such hidden histories. The adults around them carry entire lifetimes of experience. Yet much of that experience remains unspoken. Not because anyone wishes to keep secrets. Simply because daily life rarely creates long opportunities for reflection. There is always another task waiting. Another responsibility. Another day beginning. And soon, another day begins once again. The stars gradually fade. The horizon brightens. A pale golden light spreads across the eastern sky. The village awakens. One sound at a time. A door opens. A basket is lifted. A rooster calls. Footsteps move through the cool morning air. The familiar rhythm returns. The boy opens his eyes. For a moment, he remains still. The room feels calm. Outside, dawn is arriving. He can hear the distant river. He can hear people beginning their daily routines. He knows exactly what will happen next because he has experienced it thousands of times. Morning has a pattern. The same pattern yesterday. The same pattern tomorrow. The same pattern stretching back through generations. His grandfather is already awake. The old man sits quietly near the doorway. The first sunlight touches his face. He says little. Many older people in the village speak less than they once did. Years teach them that silence often carries its own wisdom. The boy joins him. Together they watch the morning unfold. The village is beautiful at this hour. The air remains cool. Birds fly above the river. Thin trails of smoke rise from cooking fires. The earth has not yet begun to radiate heat. For a short while, everything feels gentle. The grandfather points toward the Nile. A boat is moving slowly through the morning mist. The boy watches it carefully. He wonders where it came from. Where it is going. Who is aboard? Questions fill the minds of children everywhere. Ancient children are no different. Their curiosity is endless. Their imagination is active. Yet many of those questions remain inside them. There is work to do. The day moves forward. And curiosity often waits quietly in the background. Soon the village is fully awake. Families begin their daily tasks. The boy helps carry supplies toward the fields. The path is familiar. His feet know every turn. Every stone. Every patch of ground worn smooth by countless travelers. Along the way, he passes other children. Some carry water. Some carry tools. Some guide animals. All are contributing in small ways. The work may not seem extraordinary. Yet it forms the foundation of daily life. Without these countless small efforts, villages could not function. Children understand this even when nobody explains it. They see how much work surrounds them. They see adults waking before sunrise. They see tired faces at the end of the day. They understand that everyone has a role. The fields spread before them. Dark soil stretches toward the river. The crops sway gently in the morning breeze. The sight is familiar. Comforting. Predictable. For generations, families have depended on these fields. Their success means food. Their failure means hardship. Children learn this reality early. Not through lessons. Through observation. The land teaches them. The seasons teach them. The lives of the adults around them teach them. As the morning grows warmer, work begins in earnest. The boy joins other family members. His tasks are simple. Yet they require attention. He must listen carefully. Mistakes can create more work later. Patience matters. Observation matters. These qualities are praised again and again. A child who listens is considered responsible. A child who obeys instructions earns trust. Over time, children begin to understand what adults value. Not only through words. Through reactions. Through expectations. Through everyday experience. As a result, many learn to become quiet. Not unhappy. Not frightened. Simply quiet. Speaking less often becomes a practical habit. Listening becomes safer. Listening becomes useful. Listening becomes normal. By midday, the heat settles heavily across the countryside. The sunlight feels almost solid. Dust rises from roads and drifts slowly through the air. Workers seek shade when possible. Even animals move more slowly. The boy sits beneath a palm tree with several relatives. They share bread and water. The meal is simple. but after hours of labor, it feels satisfying. Nearby, adults discuss concerns about the coming harvest. The conversation is serious. Water levels, weather conditions, storage supplies. The boy listens. No one asks for his opinion. No one expects one. Yet he absorbs every word. Children often become experts at understanding situations without participating directly in them. They learn by watching faces, listening to voices, observing moods. They know when adults are worried. They know when adults are relieved. They know when something important is happening. The knowledge settles quietly inside them. Across the village, a young girl spends the afternoon helping an older relative weave baskets. The work is repetitive but skilled. Strips of plant fiber move through careful hands. Patterns slowly emerge. The basket grows little by little. The older woman speaks occasionally. Mostly instructions. Sometimes memories. Small stories from years gone by. The girl listens closely. These stories fascinate her. Not because they involve kings or temples, but because they involve ordinary people. Family members. Neighbors. People she knows. Children often connect most deeply with stories that feel close to their own lives. The old woman describes a flood from many years earlier. The river rose higher than expected. Families worked together. Everyone helped. The story unfolds slowly. The girl imagines it clearly. She asks a question. The woman answers. Then the work continues. Moments like these are precious. Not because they are rare, but because they create small spaces where a child's voice enters the conversation. Such moments matter. Yet they are often brief. Responsibilities soon reclaim attention. The basket must be finished. The day's tasks must continue. As afternoon stretches onward, the village grows quieter beneath the heat. The roads empty. Movement slows. People conserve energy. The Nile remains bright beneath the sun. Boats drift lazily across its surface. Children glance toward the water whenever they can. The river offers beauty, movement, possibility. For many, it is the largest and most dynamic part of the world they know. Some imagine distant places beyond the horizon. Some imagine becoming merchants, or sailors, or travelers. Most never speak these dreams aloud. Dreams can feel fragile, private, easy to keep hidden. Especially in a world where practical needs demand constant attention. As evening approaches, relief arrives. The air cools. The sunlight softens. Long shadows stretch across roads and fields. Families begin making their way home. The village becomes lively once again. Children walk beside parents. Voices fill the air. Cooking fires are lit. The smell of bread drifts through every street. The boy returns home carrying a small bundle of supplies. His body feels tired. His feet ache slightly. Yet there is comfort in the familiar rhythm of evening. The day's work is ending. Home waits ahead. Inside, family members prepare the meal. The room glows softly in the fading light. Everyone settles into familiar places. Conversations begin. Some concern work. Some concern relatives. Some concern small events that occurred during the day. The boy listens. Just as he always does. Listening has become second nature. Around him, the adults shape his understanding of the world without realizing it. Every story, every discussion, every concern, every memory. Together they form the invisible education of childhood. Night arrives quietly. Stars emerge above the Nile. The village settles into darkness. One by one, voices fade. Doors close. Lamps dim. The world grows still. The boy lies down beside his family. Outside, the river continues flowing through the night. The same river his grandparents knew. The same river their grandparents knew before them. Its waters carry reflections of the stars. Its current carries centuries of memory. The boy closes his eyes. Tomorrow will come. Another sunrise. Another day of listening. Another day of learning. Another day of carrying thoughts that may never be spoken aloud. And across the ancient land, thousands of other children drift gently into sleep beneath the same sky, while the Nile moves steadily through the darkness, guarding their quiet stories as it has done for generations beyond counting. The Nile drifts through the darkness beneath a sky crowded with stars. Its waters move with quiet confidence, never hurried, never still. Along its banks, villages rest beneath the cool night air. The heat of the day has faded into memory. Dust settles upon empty roads. Reeds sway softly beside the river. The ancient world is sleeping. Farmers rest after long hours in the fields. Builders rest after lifting stone beneath the sun. Fishermen rest after guiding their boats across the water. Children rest after another day spent helping their families. The night wraps itself gently around them all. Inside a modest home near a bend in the river, a young girl lies awake for a few moments before sleep arrives. The room is dark except for a faint glow from the moon outside. Around her, family members breathe softly. Everything feels calm. These quiet moments before sleep belong only to her. Throughout the day, she is rarely alone. There is always work nearby. Always voices. Always responsibilities. But now, for a little while, there is only darkness and thought. Perhaps she wonders what tomorrow will bring. Perhaps she thinks about a story she heard earlier. Perhaps she imagines a place beyond the river. History cannot tell us. The thoughts of ordinary children rarely survive. The records of ancient Egypt preserve many things. Taxes. Trade. Religious ceremonies. Official decrees. But the private reflections of children usually disappear with time. Like footprints in sand after the wind passes over them. Slowly, her eyes close. Sleep arrives. Outside, the Nile continues flowing beneath the stars. Hours pass. The moon moves across the sky. The night deepens. Then, almost imperceptibly, darkness begins to loosen its hold. Morning approaches once again. The first birds awaken. A faint silver light appears on the horizon. The stars begin to fade. Another day is preparing to begin. The village wakes gradually. A familiar sequence unfolds. Doors open. Water jars are lifted. Cooking fires are prepared. Animals stir. Children awaken beside parents and siblings. The rhythm is so consistent that it feels almost timeless. Generations have lived this way. Generations will continue to live this way. The girl rises and steps outside. The air feels wonderfully cool. Morning often offers the most pleasant hours of the day. The heat has not yet arrived. The sunlight remains gentle. The world feels fresh. She takes a deep breath. Nearby, neighbors begin their own routines. Some sweep small courtyards. Some prepare food. Some gather supplies for the day ahead. The village slowly fills with movement. Yet there is no rush. People know their responsibilities. The day unfolds naturally. The girl joins her mother. Together they begin preparing the morning meal. Grain must be ground. Dough must be mixed. Water must be fetched. The tasks are familiar. Her hands know them well. Many children learn household work so thoroughly that they can perform it almost without thinking. The knowledge becomes part of daily life. Part of identity. Part of belonging. As they work, adults discuss practical matters. The condition of a neighbor. A relative who may visit soon. The state of the crops. The conversation moves from topic to topic. The girl listens quietly. She has heard similar discussions her entire life. Children often learn the concerns of adulthood long before becoming adults themselves. They hear worries about food. Worries about weather. Worries about illness. Worries about supplies. These conversations become part of the background of childhood. Not frightening. Simply familiar. The morning sunlight grows stronger. The village becomes busier. Merchants begin arranging goods. Workers head toward fields and workshops. Children move through narrow roads carrying baskets and jars. Life gathers momentum. Near the river, a young boy helps his older brother prepare a small fishing boat. The Nile stretches before them. Wide and calm. The water reflects the brightening sky. The boy enjoys these mornings by the river. There is something peaceful about watching the water. Something that invites quiet thought. His brother checks the nets carefully. The boy helps where he can. Together they push the boat into the shallows. The river accepts it gently. Ancient children often spend much of their lives near working adults. They watch labor closely. They learn practical skills through participation. The distance between learning and doing is small. A child learns because the work needs to be done. As the boat drifts away from shore, the village begins disappearing behind them. The boy looks back briefly. Mud brick homes. Palm trees. Smoke rising from cooking fires. The familiar shape of home. Then he turns his attention to the river. The morning breeze feels cool against his face. Birds fly low above the water. The world seems large. Larger than the village. Larger than the fields. The river hints at places beyond the horizon. Many children feel this curiosity. Yet curiosity often remains private. Dreams are not always discussed openly. The daily demands of life leave little time for such conversations. Adults focus on practical matters. Children learn to do the same. Still, dreams exist. Quietly. Patiently. Hidden beneath the routines of ordinary days. By late morning, the heat begins returning. Sunlight reflects from stone walls and dusty roads. Workers continue their tasks. The girl helps an older relative repair clothing. The work requires concentration. Needle and thread move carefully through worn fabric. Nothing should be wasted. Resources are valuable. Items are repaired whenever possible. Children learn this lesson repeatedly. Take care of what you have. Use it well. Waste little. The values of the community become the values of the child. Not through formal teaching. Through daily observation. The girl sits silently for long stretches while she works. This silence feels natural. Many children become comfortable with silence. Their world rewards attention more than conversation. Listening carefully often matters more than speaking. Across ancient Egypt, countless children grow skilled at observing details. The expression on an adult's face. The tone of a conversation. the mood of a household. These observations help them understand the world around them. By midday, the sun dominates the sky. Heat settles heavily across the village. The roads grow quieter. Movement slows. Workers seek shade where they can find it. The girl sits beneath a small shelter with several relatives. They share a simple meal. Bread. Vegetables. Perhaps fish from the river. The food is modest but satisfying. Nearby, adults discuss plans for the coming weeks. The girl listens as she eats. Again, she absorbs information. Again, she remains mostly silent. This pattern appears throughout childhood. Not because children lack intelligence. Not because they lack ideas. But because the structure of daily life often places them in the role of listener. A listener hears much. A listener learns much. Yet a listener is not always heard in return. The afternoon passes slowly. The heat encourages patience. Tasks continue. Time moves steadily forward. The Nile sparkles beneath the sunlight. Boats travel between villages. Fields shimmer in the distance. Life follows its familiar path. As the day begins cooling, the village awakens from the stillness of afternoon. People return to roads and courtyards. Children gather near homes. Laughter drifts through the air. A few precious moments of play emerge. Games require little. A smooth stone. A stick. An open patch of ground. Imagination supplies the rest. The girl watches younger children playing nearby. Their joy is simple. Uncomplicated. For a little while, responsibilities seem far away. Evening arrives wrapped in golden light. The heat retreats. Long shadows stretch across the village. Families prepare meals. Neighbors exchange greetings. The smell of baking bread returns once more. The familiar scent drifts through every street. The girl helps prepare food. Her hands move confidently. Years of practice have made the work familiar. Nearby, older relatives share stories. Not stories of kings. Not stories of battles. Stories of family members. Stories of harvests. Stories of ordinary people living ordinary lives. The kind of stories that rarely appear in history. Yet these are often the stories children remember most. The stories closest to home. The stories connected to people they know. Darkness slowly returns. Stars appear overhead. The village grows quiet. One household after another settles into rest. The roads empty. The workshops stand silent. The Nile reflects the night sky. The girl lies beside her family once more. The room feels warm and safe. Outside, reeds whisper beside the river. A gentle breeze drifts through the darkness. Her eyelids grow heavy. Another day has passed. Another day of listening. Another day of learning. Another day filled with thoughts that may never be spoken aloud. And as sleep arrives once again across the ancient land, the Nile continues its endless journey beneath the stars, carrying the quiet memories of countless children whose voices rarely reached the pages of history, yet whose lives flowed through Egypt as steadily as the river itself. The Nile slips through the darkness with quiet patience. Its waters move beneath the stars, carrying reflections that tremble gently across the surface. Along the riverbanks, the villages of ancient Egypt sleep beneath the cool air of the night. The fields are still. The roads are empty. The workshops stand silent after another long day of labor. Only the river remains awake. It flows past mud brick homes. Past fishing boats pulled onto shore. past reeds that bend softly whenever a breeze arrives from the water. For thousands of years, this same scene has repeated itself. Night after night. Season after season. Generation after generation. And through all those generations, children have grown up beside these waters. Most of them left no written records behind. No carved monuments. No official histories. Yet they filled the villages with life. They carried water. They gathered food. They learned trades. They helped younger siblings. They listened to stories. They dreamed quiet dreams beneath the stars. Tonight, one such child sleeps in a small home near the river. A young boy lies beside his mother and father. The room is dark except for pale moonlight slipping through a small opening near the roof. His day was long. He spent hours helping in the fields. Hours walking dusty paths. Hours listening to conversations among adults. Now his body is tired. Sleep comes easily. Outside, the night continues. The moon slowly crosses the sky. The stars remain bright. The Nile flows on. And then, as always, dawn begins to approach. The first signs are subtle. The darkness becomes less complete. The eastern horizon grows pale. Birds stir among the reeds. A few distant sounds begin to emerge. The village is waking. Morning arrives gently in ancient Egypt. It does not rush. It unfolds slowly. Like light spreading across still water. The boy opens his eyes. For a moment, he remains lying quietly. He listens to the familiar sounds around him. His mother is already moving. A neighbor closes a door outside. Somewhere nearby, someone begins grinding grain. These sounds are part of everyday life. So familiar that they barely require attention. Yet together they form the soundtrack of childhood. The boy sits up. The floor beneath him feels cool. Soon it will warm beneath the sun. Soon the entire village will fill with activity. But for now, the world still feels calm. He steps outside. The air is fresh. The sky glows softly with early morning colors. The river shines in the distance. Mist lingers above parts of the water. The sight is beautiful. Yet beauty often becomes ordinary when seen every day. Many children grow up surrounded by wonders they barely notice. The river. The sunrise. The endless sky above the desert. These things simply become part of life. The day begins with familiar tasks. Water must be gathered. Food must be prepared. Animals must be checked. The boy joins his family without needing instructions. He knows what is expected. Ancient childhood often involves learning through routine. Tasks repeated hundreds of times become second nature. The body remembers them. The hands remember them. The mind barely needs to think. Nearby, other children begin their own duties. A girl carries a clay jar. A younger boy follows his older brother toward a workshop. Several children help sweep a courtyard. The village is full of movement now. Small movements. Necessary movements. The countless actions that keep a community functioning. As the sun rises higher, the warmth begins to spread. Light falls across the fields. Workers head toward their daily labor. The roads become busier. Dust rises beneath sandals. Voices drift through the air. The smell of baking bread mixes with the scent of earth and river water. The boy walks beside his father toward the fields. The path is familiar. Every turn. Every stone. Every patch of ground. He has traveled it so many times that he could almost follow it with his eyes closed. Along the way, they pass neighbors. Brief greetings are exchanged. Then everyone continues onward. There is work waiting. There is always work waiting. The fields stretch before them. Dark soil nourished by the Nile. Rows of growing crops. Channels carrying water through the land. The work here is constant. Plants must be monitored. Water must be managed. Problems must be addressed quickly. The boy helps where he can. His responsibilities remain smaller than those of adults. Yet they are real responsibilities. His contribution matters. Children learn this lesson early. Every effort has value. Every task serves a purpose. Many ancient children grow up feeling needed. The family depends on them. The household depends on them. The village depends on everyone contributing something. This sense of responsibility can create pride. But it can also leave little room for personal expression. The needs of the group often come first. Individual thoughts sometimes remain private. As the morning continues, the heat slowly strengthens. Workers settle into steady rhythms. Tools move through practiced motions. Voices become less frequent. Energy is conserved. The boy works quietly beside his father. Much of their relationship is built through shared activity rather than conversation. This is common. Many parents love their children deeply. Yet affection is often expressed through actions. Providing food. Teaching skills. Offering protection. Keeping the family together. Long discussions about feelings are less common. Not because emotions do not exist, but because life leaves limited time for them. Children learn to recognize love in practical forms. A repaired sandal. A saved portion of food. A lesson patiently taught. A place to sleep at night. These gestures speak clearly, even when few words accompany them. By midday, the heat becomes intense. The sunlight seems to press down upon the earth. Workers seek shade. Animals rest. The village slows. The boy sits beneath a tree with several family members. They share a simple meal. Bread. Vegetables. Water drawn from the river. The food is familiar. Comforting. Enough. Nearby, adults discuss concerns about storage supplies and future harvests. The boy listens. He understands more now than he did when he was younger. Children gradually become aware of the worries carried by adults. Food shortages. Illness. Poor harvests. Unexpected problems. These concerns form part of the world around them. Even when nobody explains everything directly. Across the village, a young girl spends the afternoon helping her grandmother sort grain. The work is repetitive. The motion steady. The grandmother occasionally tells stories while they work. Not grand stories. Not heroic tales. Simply memories. The year of flood arrived earlier than expected. The time a neighbor's donkey wandered into a garden. The season when the harvest was especially good. The girl enjoys these stories. They make the past feel close. Personal. Real. Children often connect with history through family memories long before they encounter official histories. The grandmother pauses occasionally to rest her hands. Age has slowed her movements. The girl notices this. Children observe far more than adults sometimes realize. They notice fatigue. They notice worry. They notice happiness. They notice grief. Years of listening and watching sharpen these abilities. The afternoon passes slowly. The heat eventually begins to weaken. A breeze arrives from the river. Workers straighten their backs. People begin preparing for evening. The entire landscape seems to relax. Golden light spreads across the fields. The Nile glows beneath the lowering sun. The village fills with familiar sounds. Families returning home. Children calling to one another. Cooking fires being prepared. The smell of bread drifts through the air once more. The boy walks home beside his father. Their shadows stretch long across the road. Dust clings to their sandals. The day has been tiring. Yet there is satisfaction in returning home. There is comfort in familiar routines. Comfort in knowing what awaits. The evening meal brings everyone together. Family members gather close. Food is shared. Stories are exchanged. The light from a small lamp flickers softly against the walls. Children listen as adults speak. The pattern continues. Yet there is warmth here. A sense of belonging. A feeling of connection. Even children whose voices are seldom centered remain deeply woven into the life of the household. The night gradually returns. One star appears. Then another. Soon the entire sky is shining. The village settles into silence. Doors close. Voices fade. The day's work is finished. For now. The boy lies down beside his family. Outside, the Nile continues flowing beneath the stars. Its waters carry reflections of ancient constellations. Its current moves steadily through the darkness. The same river his ancestors knew. The same river future generations will know. His eyes slowly close. Sleep arrives gently. And across the land, countless other children drift into dreams beside the river, carrying quiet hopes, private thoughts, and unspoken questions into the night, while the Nile glides onward beneath the stars, keeping watch over them all. The Nile moves through the night like a ribbon of dark silver. Its waters reflect the stars above and the pale glow of the moon. Along its banks, the villages of Egypt rest beneath the cool hours before dawn. The day's heat has finally disappeared. The dust has settled. The roads are empty except for the occasional animal moving quietly through the darkness. Everything feels still. Everything feels unhurried. The river continues onward, as it always has. Inside a village near a wide bend in the Nile, a young girl sleeps soundly beside her family. Her day was filled with familiar tasks. Carrying water. Helping prepare food. Watching younger children. Listening to adults discuss matters she only partly understood. Now none of those responsibilities matter. For a few precious hours, there is only sleep. The room is quiet. The walls hold traces of warmth from the day before. A faint breeze drifts through a small opening near the roof. Outside, reeds whisper beside the river. The sounds blend together into something soft and comforting. Many children in ancient Egypt fell asleep to these same sounds. The rustling of plants. The distant movement of water. The occasional call of a night bird. The sounds became part of childhood itself. Long before sunrise, the world remains peaceful. The stars slowly wheel overhead. The moon sinks lower. The night grows older. Then, gradually, morning begins to approach. The darkness lightens. A pale glow appears in the east. Birds stir among the reeds. One by one, the sounds of life return. The village wakes. Not suddenly. Slowly. A door opens. Someone clears their throat. A clay jar touches the ground. A small fire crackles to life. The familiar rhythm begins once more. The girl opens her eyes. For a moment she remains still, watching the faint light growing inside the room. Morning always arrives. No matter how tired someone feels. No matter how difficult the previous day was. The sun returns. The work returns. The routines return. This certainty shapes life in the ancient world. There is comfort in knowing what comes next. The girl rises and steps outside. The air feels cool against her skin. The horizon glows softly. Across the village, other families are beginning their day as well. People move quietly. The morning still belongs to calmness. The rush of activity has not yet arrived. She walks with her mother toward the river. Each carries a clay jar. The path is worn smooth from years of use. Thousands of feet have traveled this road before them. Parents. Grandparents. Great-grandparents. Generations moving between village and river. The Nile appears ahead. Wide. Steady. Beautiful. Mist floats above the surface. The water catches the first light of day. For a moment, the world seems almost dreamlike. The girl pauses. Many children have moments like this. Brief moments of still observation. A sunrise. A bird crossing the sky. Light reflecting on water. These experiences often pass without comment. Nobody asks what the child is thinking. Nobody records the memory. Yet the moment remains important. Quiet experiences shape people in ways that history rarely notices. Water is collected. The jars are filled. The walk home begins. The work is simple but necessary. Ancient life depends on thousands of such tasks. Small actions repeated every day. Together they create the foundation of an entire society. Back in the village, cooking fires are burning. The smell of bread begins to spread through the air. It is one of the most familiar smells in Egypt. Warm grain. Fresh dough. The scent drifts through narrow streets and enters homes through open doorways. Families gather for simple meals before the day's labor begins. Children sit among adults. They listen. They observe. They learn. Many lessons arrive without formal instruction. A child learns what is important by paying attention to what adults discuss. Food. Work. Family. The river. The harvest. Health. These subjects appear again and again. Over time, they become the framework through which children understand the world. As the morning grows brighter, activity spreads throughout the village. Merchants prepare goods. Farmers head toward fields. Craftsmen open workshops. Children move alongside them. Some carry tools. Some carry baskets. Some help younger siblings. The entire community is connected through work. Everyone contributes. Even the smallest contribution has value. A young boy walks beside his uncle toward a workshop where pottery is made. The building is already warm despite the early hour. Clay waits in neat piles. Finished vessels stand drying nearby. The boy enjoys watching the potter's wheel. He enjoys seeing a lump of clay slowly transform into something useful. There is something almost magical about the process. His uncle shapes the clay with practiced hands. The vessel rises gradually. Smooth. Balanced. Strong. The boy watches carefully. Observation is one of the most important forms of education available to him. He learns by seeing. By repeating. By making mistakes. By trying again. Children throughout the ancient world spend countless hours watching adults work. These hours teach more than practical skills. They teach patience, discipline, attention, responsibility. Yet they also teach silence. Watching requires quietness. Listening requires quietness. Many children become comfortable occupying the background. Their thoughts remain active. Their imaginations remain active. But their voices are often secondary. Outside, the village grows warmer. The sun climbs higher. The roads become dusty. The sounds of labor fill the air. Hammering. Grinding. Animals moving through streets. Voices calling from one courtyard to another. Life is busy. Constantly busy. For adults, there is rarely enough time. There is always another task waiting. Another concern demanding attention. This reality affects children as well. Parents may care deeply about what their children think and feel. Yet exhaustion often limits how much attention can be given. A father returning from the fields after 10 hours beneath the sun may simply lack the energy for long conversations. A mother balancing food preparation, water collection, and child care may have little time left for reflection. The result is not a lack of love. It is a lack of opportunity. And so many children learn to carry their inner worlds quietly. By midday, heat spreads across the land. The sunlight feels intense. Shadows shrink. Movement slows. Workers seek shade where they can find it. The girl sits beneath a small shelter beside several relatives. The breeze from the river occasionally reaches them. Each cool breath of air feels welcome. Nearby, adults discuss village matters. The condition of a neighbor. Repairs needed before the next season. News brought by a merchant traveling from another settlement. The girl listens carefully. She always listens carefully. Listening has become a habit. A skill. A way of understanding the world. Children often know far more than adults realize because they spend years quietly absorbing information. Across the village, another child sits with his grandfather beneath a palm tree. The old man speaks slowly. His voice carries the calm rhythm of someone who has seen many seasons come and go. He tells stories about earlier years. Floods. Harvests. Journeys along the river. The child listens with fascination. Stories connect generations. They carry knowledge across time. Yet even during storytelling, children are usually listeners first. The role feels natural. Expected. Rarely questioned. The afternoon passes. The heat eventually begins to soften. The golden light of evening spreads across the fields. Workers return home. The roads become lively once more. Dust rises beneath tired feet. Voices drift through the air. The smell of food returns. Bread baking. Vegetables cooking. Fish roasting over small fires. The village feels warm and welcoming. Children help prepare meals. They carry water. They gather supplies. Then, for a little while, they rest. These evening hours often contain the gentlest moments of the day. The pressure of work fades. Families gather together. Stories are shared. Laughter appears. The world feels smaller. Safer. The girl sits near her grandmother while food cooks nearby. The older woman hums softly while working. The melody is simple. Ancient. Comforting. The girl listens. She may remember this sound years later. Long after specific conversations are forgotten. Certain memories remain. A voice. A smell. The glow of evening light on a wall. These small details become part of a person's inner life. Night slowly returns. The stars appear above the Nile once again. The river reflects their light. The village settles into quietness. Families prepare for sleep. Children lie beside parents and siblings. The day releases its hold. The girl closes her eyes. Outside, the Nile continues its endless journey through the darkness. The same river that nourished the fields. The same river that carried boats and fishermen. The same river that watched generations of children grow, work, dream, and grow old. Sleep arrives gently. And across the ancient land, countless children drift into peaceful dreams beneath the stars, carrying thoughts known only to themselves, while the patient waters of the Nile flow onward through the night, guarding their quiet stories in the silence between one dawn and the next. The Nile flows quietly beneath the stars. Its waters move through the darkness with a calm rhythm that never seems to change. Along its banks, villages rest beneath the cool night air. The fields lie silent. The workshops are dark. The roads that were busy only a few hours ago now belong to the moonlight and the occasional wandering animal. Night has a way of softening everything. The worries of the day seem farther away. The demands of work grow quiet. Even the hottest memories of the afternoon sun fade beneath the cool breath of darkness. Inside a small mud-brick home near a cluster of date palms, a young boy sleeps beside his older sister. The room is crowded but comfortable. The walls are familiar. The sounds outside are familiar. Everything about this place is familiar. For many children in ancient Egypt, life unfolds within a relatively small circle. A village. A field. A stretch of river. A marketplace visited from time to time. The world beyond those places may feel distant and mysterious. Stories arrive from elsewhere, carried by travelers and merchants. But most daily experiences remain close to home. The boy has never traveled very far. Yet his imagination often does. When he hears stories about distant settlements along the Nile, he pictures them carefully. Different boats. Different people. Different fields. Different roads. He wonders about them sometimes. Not often aloud. Mostly in silence. Many children carry entire worlds inside their thoughts. Worlds that remain hidden because nobody asks about them. Or because there is simply no time. The stars slowly cross the sky. The moonlight shifts. The night continues. Then, little by little, the darkness begins to fade. Morning approaches once again. The first sign is often sound. A bird calling from somewhere near the river. A door opening. Footsteps moving across packed earth. The village begins waking before the sun fully arrives. The boy opens his eyes. For a moment he listens. The sounds of morning feel comforting. Predictable. The same sounds have greeted him nearly every day of his life. Soon he rises and steps outside. The air is cool. A gentle breeze drifts from the river. The eastern horizon glows with pale gold and soft pink colors. The Nile reflects the changing sky. Everything feels calm. This is one of the quietest moments of the day. A moment when the world has awakened but has not yet become busy. Many children treasure these moments without even realizing it. A few breaths of cool air. A few minutes of stillness. A few moments before responsibilities return. The boy helps his family prepare for the day. A basket must be carried. Water must be collected. Supplies must be organized. The tasks are ordinary. Yet ordinary tasks fill most of life. History often focuses on unusual events. Great monuments. Important rulers. Major ceremonies. but most people spend most of their lives performing ordinary tasks. Especially children. The boy carries a small basket while walking with his father toward the fields. Dust rises beneath their sandals. Birds move through the reeds. The smell of moist earth drifts from irrigation channels. The Nile has left its gift upon the land once again. Rich soil. Fertile ground. The possibility of another harvest. Fields spread outward before them. The crops are growing well this season. That fact brings quiet relief to many families. Food means stability. Food means survival. Children understand this from an early age. Even if nobody explains every detail. They see the expressions on adult faces. They hear the conversations. They recognize when people are worried and when people are hopeful. Listening teaches them these things. Listening teaches them almost everything. As the morning continues, the village grows busier. Merchants arrange goods beneath simple shelters. Potters begin shaping clay. Builders gather tools. Women prepare food. Children move among them carrying supplies and completing errands. The entire community functions through cooperation. Every task connects to another task. Every person depends on someone else. The boy spends part of the morning helping near the fields. His responsibilities are modest. Yet they matter. A child may not carry the heaviest load. A child may not make the most important decisions. But a child can still contribute. Ancient societies often expected this contribution. Not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. Life required many hands. Even small hands had value. Nearby, a young girl helps her mother prepare grain. The grinding stones are heavy. The work is repetitive. The sound of stone against grain fills the room. Hour after hour, the process continues. The girl has done this many times before. Her mother has done it thousands of times. Her grandmother did it before her. Some tasks seem almost eternal. Passed from one generation to the next with little change. As they work, neighbors visit briefly. Conversations begin. Family news. Village news. Concerns about weather. Questions about supplies. The adults speak. The girl listens. Again and again, childhood unfolds from this position. Close enough to hear everything. Yet rarely at the center of the discussion. The girl's thoughts remain mostly private. Perhaps she agrees with what she hears. Perhaps she disagrees. Perhaps she has questions. History does not tell us. The silence surrounding ordinary children is one of the great quiet spaces in the ancient world. By midday, the sun stands high above the land. The heat grows heavy. Shadows become small. Movement slows. Workers pause whenever they can. A breeze from the river feels precious. The boy sits beneath a tree with several relatives. They share bread and water. The meal is simple. Simple meals are common. There is comfort in familiarity. The bread tastes as it always does. The water feels cool. The shade offers relief. Nearby, adults discuss future plans. The coming season. Needed repairs. Family obligations. The boy listens carefully. He notices things adults may not realize he notices. Children often do. They hear worry hidden beneath calm voices. They notice uncertainty hidden beneath confidence. They understand more than many people expect. Yet they seldom receive opportunities to explain what they understand. The afternoon unfolds slowly. Heat presses down upon the village. The roads become quieter. The fields shimmer beneath sunlight. The Nile sparkles in the distance. A fishing boat drifts along the river. Its sail catches a gentle breeze. Several children watch from the shore. Their eyes follow the boat until it becomes small against the water. Boats have a special power over imagination. They travel. They disappear beyond bends in the river. They connect one place to another. For children whose lives remain close to home, boats represent possibility, movement, adventure, distance. Not dramatic adventure. Not heroic adventure. Simply the possibility of seeing something new. Many children wonder what lies beyond the places they know. Most never speak these thoughts aloud. They remain private companions during long hours of work. As afternoon begins fading into evening, relief arrives. The air cools. The sunlight softens. Golden light spreads across fields and rooftops. Workers begin returning home. The village comes alive in a different way. Not with labor. With reunion. Families gather again. Children return from errands. Parents return from work. Cooking fires appear one by one. The smell of bread drifts through the streets. The smell is warm. Comforting. Ancient. It fills the air almost every evening. The boy returns home carrying a small bundle. His body feels tired. His feet ache slightly. Yet there is satisfaction in completing another day. The evening meal is being prepared. Voices drift from inside the home. Family members exchange stories about the day's events. Small events. Ordinary events. Yet these are the events that shape most lives. A broken tool. A successful catch. A neighbor's visit. A child's small mistake. The rhythm of ordinary existence. The boy sits quietly and listens. He often listens. Many children do. The adults are not trying to ignore him. The conversation simply follows familiar patterns. Adults speak. Children absorb. Knowledge flows downward through generations. Like water flowing through irrigation channels. Steady. Consistent. Essential. Night arrives once more. The sky darkens. Stars emerge above the Nile. The village settles into quietness. Doors close. Voices fade. The sounds of labor disappear. Only the river remains constant. The boy lies beside his family. The room grows dark. Outside, reeds whisper beside the water. A cool breeze drifts through the night. His eyes grow heavy. Tomorrow will resemble today in many ways. The same river. The same roads. The same responsibilities. Yet every day adds something new. A new observation. A new memory. A new thought carried quietly within. And as sleep settles gently across the ancient land, countless children drift into dreams beneath the stars, carrying inner worlds that few people ever fully heard, while the Nile flows patiently through the darkness, holding their untold stories within its endless journey. The Nile glides through the darkness beneath a sky filled with stars. The river does not hurry. It never seems concerned about time. Its waters move quietly past sleeping villages, past fields resting beneath the cool night air, past fishing boats pulled gently onto shore after another long day. The world is still. The ovens are cold. The workshops are silent. The roads lie empty beneath moonlight. Only the river continues its patient journey through the heart of Egypt. Inside a modest mud-brick home near the edge of a village, a young girl sleeps beside her mother. The room is warm but comfortable. A woven mat covers part of the floor. Clay jars stand against the wall. A basket filled with grain waits for morning. Everything inside the room serves a purpose. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is unnecessary. Life in ancient Egypt often revolves around practical needs. Food, water, shelter, work. Children learn this reality from the very beginning. They grow up surrounded by people whose days are shaped by necessity. Yet even within such practical lives, quiet dreams still exist. Private hopes still exist. Thoughts drip through young minds just as clouds drift across the sky. Most simply remain unspoken. The girl shifts slightly in her sleep. Outside, the reeds along the Nile whisper softly as a breeze passes through them. The sound blends with the distant movement of water. Together they create a gentle music that has soothed generations. Thousands of children have fallen asleep to these sounds. Thousands have awakened to them. The river becomes part of their earliest memories. Part of their identity. Part of the rhythm of life itself. Hours pass. The stars continue their slow journey across the heavens. Then, gradually, dawn begins to arrive. The eastern horizon lightens. Birds awaken among the reeds. A faint glow spreads across the land. The village begins to stir. Morning in ancient Egypt rarely arrives with sudden noise. It unfolds gently. A door opens. A basket is lifted. A fire crackles softly. Someone speaks in a low voice. The familiar sounds of another day begin. The girl opens her eyes. For a moment she remains still. The room is quiet. Most of her family is still waking. She listens to the sounds outside. A neighbor walking past. A bird calling from a rooftop. The distant murmur of the river. These sounds feel reassuring. They signal that the world remains as it should be. The day ahead is largely predictable. There will be work. There will be meals. There will be conversations. There will be responsibilities. Ancient life often follows patterns repeated so many times that they feel permanent. The girl rises and joins her mother. Together they begin preparing for the morning. Water must be brought inside. Food must be prepared. The household must be organized before the heat of the day arrives. The tasks are familiar. Her hands move almost automatically. Children learn through repetition. Not because someone constantly explains what to do. Because they see the same actions every day. They watch. They imitate. They improve. Knowledge settles gradually into the body itself. Outside, sunlight begins touching the tops of the palm trees. The village brightens. People emerge from their homes. The roads slowly fill with movement. A man carries tools toward the fields. A merchant arranges goods beneath a simple shelter. Several children walk together carrying clay jars. Life is beginning once more. The girl walks toward the river with other children. The path curves between homes and gardens. Dust clings lightly to their sandals. The air remains pleasantly cool. The Nile appears ahead. Wide and shining. The surface reflects the colors of the morning sky. For a moment, everyone seems quieter. The river often has this effect. Its steady presence encourages stillness. Even children who spend every day beside it sometimes pause to admire the view. The jars are filled. The water feels cool and refreshing. Soon the walk home begins. The jars are heavier now. The task requires effort. Many ancient children become strong through necessity rather than intention. Their daily lives involve carrying, walking, lifting, helping. Physical effort becomes ordinary. As the morning continues, the village grows busier. The smell of baking bread drifts through the streets. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Voices echo between walls. Animals wander through courtyards. The sounds blend together into the familiar music of daily life. The girl helps prepare grain. Nearby, adults discuss matters concerning the household. Food supplies. Relatives. Work that must be completed before the next season. The conversation flows naturally. The girl listens while working. Again she occupies that familiar position. Close enough to hear. Far enough away to remain mostly silent. Many children throughout history spend years in this role. Listening. Learning. Observing. Their understanding grows quietly. Adults often underestimate how much children notice. Yet children notice almost everything. The tone of a voice. A worried expression. A moment of tension. A moment of relief. They gather information constantly. Their world is full of details. By mid-morning, the sunlight grows stronger. The roads become warmer. Dust rises beneath passing feet. A young boy nearby is helping his father repair farming tools. The work requires patience. The father demonstrates a technique. The boy watches carefully. Then attempts it himself. The result is imperfect. The father adjusts his grip. Shows him again. The lesson continues. This is how much education occurs. Not through formal instruction. Through shared activity. Through repetition. Through observation. The boy learns more than the specific task. He learns persistence. He learns responsibility. He learns how adults expect him to behave. Children absorb social expectations through countless interactions like this. Little by little, they learn what earns praise. What earns criticism. What earns trust. The process is gradual. Almost invisible. Yet it shapes entire lives. The sun climbs higher. Soon midday arrives. Heat settles across the land. The air feels heavier. Workers seek shade whenever possible. The pace of life slows. Even conversations become softer. The girl sits beneath a shaded area beside several relatives. Bread is shared. Water is passed around. Everyone seems grateful for the chance to rest. A breeze arrives from the direction of the Nile. The cool air feels wonderful. For a few moments, nobody speaks. They simply enjoy the relief. Children often remember simple comforts more vividly than grand events. A cool breeze. A favorite meal. A familiar voice. The feeling of shade after hours beneath the sun. These experiences leave deep impressions. Across the village, several younger children have found time to play. A few smooth stones become pieces in a game. Laughter rises into the afternoon air. Their joy feels effortless. Brief but genuine. Even in demanding societies, childhood finds room for play. It may not last long. Responsibilities always return. But the moments exist. And they matter. The afternoon passes slowly. The sunlight softens little by little. Long shadows begin appearing. The heat starts to loosen its grip. People emerge from shaded spaces. Work resumes. The village gradually becomes active once more. The girl helps finish several tasks before evening. Her body feels tired. Her feet ache slightly. Yet she continues. Most children do. The expectations placed upon them become familiar over time. Responsibility becomes part of identity. As evening approaches, golden light spreads across the landscape. The Nile glows beneath the lowering sun. The river seems almost magical at this hour. The water reflects orange and gold colors. Palm trees cast long shadows. Birds move across the sky in graceful formations. Families begin returning home. The village fills with voices. Cooking fires appear. The smell of bread drifts through the air once more. The girl helps prepare the evening meal. Nearby, older relatives share stories. Stories about family members. Stories about seasons long past. Stories about ordinary lives. The kind of stories that rarely survive in written records. Yet these stories are important. They connect people. They preserve memory. They help children understand where they belong. The girl listens carefully. As always, listening has become one of the central experiences of her childhood. She listens to stories. She listens to instructions. She listens to worries. She listens to hopes. Meanwhile, many of her own thoughts remain private. Not hidden intentionally. Simply carried quietly within. Darkness slowly returns. The stars emerge above the Nile. One by one. Then hundreds. The village settles into silence. Doors close. Lamps dim. Voices fade. The day's work finally ends. The girl lies down beside her family. The room feels safe. Familiar. Comforting. Outside, the Nile continues its endless journey through the night. Its waters move beneath the stars just as they did for countless generations before. The girl's eyes grow heavy. Sleep arrives softly. And across the ancient land, children drift into dreams beside the river, carrying silent questions, quiet hopes, and private worlds within their hearts, while the patient Nile flows onward through the darkness, keeping their forgotten stories company beneath the stars. The Nile flows quietly beneath the stars. The night has become deep and gentle. Across the ancient land, the day's final sounds have faded away. The ovens have cooled. The workshops are silent. The dusty roads that carried so many footsteps now rest beneath moonlight. The river continues onward. As it always has. As it always will. Along its banks, villages sleep. Families rest together inside mud-brick homes warmed by the memory of the day. Farmers sleep after long hours in the fields. Fishermen sleep after guiding their boats across calm waters. Bakers, builders, servants, merchants, and scribes all drift beneath the same blanket of night. And among them, the children sleep too. The children who carried water. The children who gathered grain. The children who listened more than they spoke. The children whose names were never carved into stone. Whose thoughts were never written onto papyrus. Whose stories were rarely recorded. Yet whose lives quietly filled the ancient world. Many grew up without ever truly being heard. Not because they lacked wisdom. Not because they lacked imagination. Not because they lacked feelings. But because life moved quickly around them. Work needed to be done. Food needed to be prepared. Families needed care. The river kept flowing. The seasons kept turning. And so their voices often remained soft beneath the larger sounds of the world. Yet they were there. Watching. Learning. Dreaming. Growing. Listening to the conversations of adults. Feeling the warmth of the sun on their faces. Walking dusty roads beside the Nile. Falling asleep to the sound of water moving through reeds beneath the stars. The river remembered them all. The countless ordinary children who lived ordinary lives. Children who laughed. Children who worried. Children who hoped for tomorrow. Children who carried private thoughts through long days of work and quiet evenings beside their families. Tonight, those distant lives grow softer. The villages become still. The fields disappear into darkness. The boats become shadows upon the water. The voices of the ancient world drift farther and farther away. Only the Nile remains, flowing gently beneath the moonlight, flowing beneath the stars, flowing through memory. And as the cool night air settles across the riverbanks, the ancient land grows peaceful once more. The reeds whisper softly. The water glides past in silence. The stars shine above the sleeping world. And somewhere beyond history, beyond time, beyond all written records, the forgotten children of Egypt rest beside the river at last. The night grows quieter. The stars grow softer. The Nile flows on. And slowly, gently, everything fades into stillness.